After the disaster that was Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige and Disney have a lot riding on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They've been hyping up this movie. They've been lying to everybody, telling you have to go watch it because it's so important for what comes next. Kevin Feige says Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the most important MCU movie since Avengers Endgame. That's actually what they've been trying to tell people in a desperate attempt to get this audience back. Because in Phase 4, when so many people got tired of Marvel pushing identity politics instead of entertainment, they walked away. They've had struggles in the box office, and now we're finally getting the first numbers for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and it's not good news for Marvel. In fact, it's pretty bad. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania Thursday previews near Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Early read box office. Now, a lot of people are going to run with that headline in an effort to make it seem like that's a good thing. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, that's a movie that did well in the box office. Ant-Man's tracking with that. Unfortunately, what they failed to mention is that in the 6 years since that movie came out, movie-going habits are incredibly different. There's a huge emphasis now on these Thursday night previews. They get a ton of money right up front, which wasn't the same way. There wasn't that big of an emphasis. Wasn't that many showings on Thursdays 6 years ago. What they failed to really mention, at least in the headline, we'll get into it in the article, is that this number, 17.5 million officially via the box office report, between 17 and 18 million, it is officially 17.5. The numbers just came through. What they failed to mention is that that number is significantly lower than the recent entries in the MCU. In fact, it's about 40% lower than Thor: Love and Thunder and Black Panther 2: Wakanda Forever. This is setting up to be a potential disaster for Marvel and Disney. After putting so much on this movie, it already looks like it's not even going to come close to those box office disappointments. We're hearing from box office sources that Peyton Reed's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania zoomed to a 17 to 18 million last night in previews from showtimes that started at 3 p.m. The figure, which could be higher or lower once Disney officially reports later this morning, is where Marvel Studios' Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2's Thursday night was back in 2017. And again, it is now officially 17.5. And if you want to go back all the way to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which released in 2017, you can look. Yeah, when you look at that Thursday preview, $17 million headed towards a $146 million opening weekend. This is back when Marvel was counting on 55% second weekend drops. It's all a lot different for the MCU now, isn't it? When you look at all of these other releases, whether it's Doctor Strange, whether it's Thor: Love and Thunder, whether it's Wakanda Forever, all of them had pretty big opening weekends and then a drastic fall off. But all of them, when you go look, 181 million opening weekend for Black Panther, 28 million in previews. Thor: Love and Thunder, this is the real one. This is the one I think you can draw some real comparisons to. A $29 million opening weekend towards a $144 million opening weekend. And of course, Doctor Strange had a massive one as well. Previews were 36 million, headed towards 187 opening weekend. Ant-Man is nothing close to that. In fact, it sounds more likely that Ant-Man is going to have trouble getting to $100 million opening weekend. And if that's the case for this movie that they've invested so much in, that's a much higher budget than these other Ant-Man flicks, if it can't even crack $600, $700 million, that's going to be an embarrassment for Marvel and a failure for Kevin Feige and Disney. Again, they've been lying to everyone about how important this movie is for the future of the MCU, all of this stuff. For the people that actually go and watch it, you'll know pretty quickly when you get to the end of that movie that this was a massive lie. They lied to you to try to get people to the box office, and so far, it hasn't worked. The Thursday night previews from Marvel's crop last year were Doctor Strange at 36, Thor: Love and Thunder at 29, and Black Panther at 28. Industry projections for the four-day weekend, including the holiday on Monday, are 120 million, but Disney thinks it's between 105, 110. Nevertheless, the threequel is bound to set an opening record for the Ant-Man franchise and third best President's Day ever after 2018's Black Panther and 2016's Deadpool. Advanced ticket sales were tracking 15% behind Thor: Love and Thunder, which opened 144 million. Yeah, well, it might end up being much worse than that, because if this tracks, if it's 40% less right now than Thor: Love and Thunder, and we end up seeing a $95 million opening weekend, which would be about a third less, this movie is going to struggle. Because again, Thor: Love and Thunder sitting there at $750 million worldwide effectively by the end of its run. that would put Ant-Man on a pace to struggle to break $600 million. We'll see what happens as the rest of the weekend comes out. Maybe it'll have a massive Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Maybe it'll just be incredible, the biggest movie ever. But as for right now, that opening number has to be scary for Disney with everything they've put in this movie. A much higher budget. Original Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp were $130 million budget movies. So that way, if you make $600 million, that's a good chunk of change. This one is at $200 million. Plus, add a Super Bowl ad on top of that for the marketing. This is likely a movie that is going to be pushing $600 million just to break even. And now that might have been the target for them. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.